Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum dear students. Our today's session is on efficient use of memory. Well, as you know, this course is on study skills. Study skills is a very comprehensive yet very extensive area that includes a lot of skills, that includes skills related to communication, that also includes skills related to self-management, time management, etc. Well, our today's session of efficient use of memory is placed under the reading skills by me. There is a purpose of placing this section in or this session under reading skills, because most of the times in academic life, once you read something, you have to remember a lot out of that. That is what you have to produce in your examination in the written form. However, you can relate the efficient use of memory to other study skills as well. For example, you can relate it to your time management. If you are good at managing your memory in an efficient way, then you would be able to manage your time in a good way as well, for example. Before I really start on today's session, I would like to share a review of the previous session. As far as our previous lesson is concerned, it was on vocabulary development. The topic of vocabulary development was divided into 3 sessions. The reason of dividing it into 3 sessions was that it is a very vast area and it is one of the most important requirements for a language learner. Vocabulary also plays a very important role in effective communication. In that session, in those sessions that were related to vocabulary development, mainly I talked about what is vocabulary, how vocabulary can be built, what are the important aspects of vocabulary building. I shared some important steps towards the development of vocabulary. I also gave you some tips on how vocabulary can be built in a good and efficient way. Most of the part of the sessions that were on vocabulary development, they were based on activities and exercises. The purpose of all those activities and exercises was to give you some on-hand practice in doing vocabulary building process itself. Main areas that I touched upon through those activities and exercises were related to the use of synonyms and antonyms, and how knowing the synonyms and antonyms help in adding to vocabulary. A very important area that these sessions were related to was the use of suffixes and prefixes. I told you that prefixes and suffixes are those parts of words that are added at the beginning or at the ending of a word to give it another meaning. Through those sessions, I shared with you how by adding a prefix at the beginning of a word, you can change its meaning. For example, you can make another word that is the opposite of the original word. I also shared lists of suffixes, and I showed you how by using those suffixes and how by doing some practice in using them, you can immensely raise your fund of vocabulary. I shared with you how usually suffixes are used to create different parts of speech or to change one part of speech to another. We did some activities and exercises that were based on how by using suffixes a noun can be changed into an adjective, or an adjective can be changed into adverb, or a verb can be changed into a noun, or any part of speech can be changed to some other part of speech. Vocabulary sessions also provided you lists of the commonly used prefixes and suffixes. I also provided you the main area of meaning related to those particular suffixes or prefixes. The purpose of providing you the meanings was so that in relation to the meaning of those prefixes and suffixes, you could remember what a word can mean when they are attached to a particular word. So this is what I have recaptured about our previous session. With this we move on to our today's session. Dear students, our today's session is, as I have already said, on vocabulary, on memory. Actually, it is on the use of memory in an efficient way. Efficient use of memory is very, very important for any language learner, and it becomes even more important in any academic situation. In today's session, we would share the following. What is memory building, or what is the efficient use of memory? We would also share the mental processes involved in remembering. In this regard, I would talk about the role of short-term memory for a while as well. Then the major part of the session would deal with common problems of students with regard to remembering or with regard to the use of memory. I would share the problems, and I would also share the solutions of those problems. I would suggest how these problems can be overcome. I would give you some tips, and I would present some strategies that can be used to remember in a more effective and efficient way. Finally, we would move towards the part of the session where we would talk about memory as a problem-solving tool, and we would see how to solve problems, to unfold activities, and to use in academic contexts how memory is a tool. So starting with the details of today's session, I would start with the mental processes that are needed for reading. And I would say reading is more than recognizing letters and the sounds they represent. In other words, for readers to comprehend what they read, they have to perform a number of mental processes. First, they have to recognize the letters on the page. Then they have to remember the sounds those letters represent. And then they have to be able to understand how the sounds blend together to form words. So, in itself, reading is a complex and complicated process. If you remember, when I was doing my initial sessions on reading, I shared with you a flow chart, sort of a diagram, where at the bottom of it I tried to share with you the mental processes involved in reading on the basic level, and the chart at the top or at the upper level showed the processes that are the mental processes actually that are involved in reading on a higher processing level. If you do not recall that, by the way, go back to the first or the second session of reading that I did with you. Well, talking about the role of short-term memory in reading comprehension, I would say it is short-term memory that allows readers to perform all the tasks required for reading. When children are learning to read, their working memory capacity is not sufficient to allow them to remember everything they need to remember. Most adults have experienced this decoding and comprehension problem. Decoding means, again, when you read something, you try to understand the message, you try to decode the message that is encoded by or that is wrapped by the writer in that particular piece of writing. And you try to comprehend that. So the decoding and comprehension problems that are experienced by most of the adults when they read highly technical information written in long sentences full of specialized vocabulary. This is what is often complained about. What I mean by this is that generally adult readers like you, they may not feel any problem in relation to memory, when it, especially short-term memory, when it comes to comprehension. But when the sentences are more dense with information, they have high difficulty vocabulary items, and they are complex and complicated in syntax and structure, it becomes difficult for even an adult reader to decode and comprehend because of problems in short-term memory. शॉर्ट टर्म मेमोरी माय डियर स्टूडेंट्स इज रिटेन्ड फॉर अ वेरी लिटिल टाइम, बहुत थोड़ी सी देर के लिए आपको याद रहता है. सो इफ इट इज अ लॉन्ग सेंटेंस, so जब तक आप आगे पहुंचते हैं, यू फॉरगेट द पार्ट ऑफ इंफॉर्मेशन दैट इज गिवन एट द बिगिनिंग ऑफ द सेंटेंस, which creates problems sometimes with reference to its use. In that case, being familiar with the vocabulary and having the information presented in shorter sentences helps us understand more easily. Acha, when we would be doing activities towards the end of today's session, there we would do some activities where you can relate this point to. वहाँ आप देखेंगे कि if the sentence that is presented is comparatively longer and it is more complicated, then it becomes difficult in terms of short-term memory to retain कि अभी पीछे इसके क्या लिखा हुआ था, पीछे क्या बताया हुआ था, as you move forward. Anyhow, talking about working memory, I would say working memory is the kind of short-term memory that stores information for a short amount of time as we are working with it. It's actually the process of temporarily storing and manipulating information. अब फिर उस information में से जिस चीज़ को आप consciously याद रखने की कोशिश करते हैं, that you sort out कि हाँ ये मुझे याद रखनी है, I need it, that is shifted to your long-term memory. Researchers believe that short-term memory is critical for reading comprehension. Short-term memory capacity increases with age and is dependent on the development of the front part of the brain, that is frontal lobes. Until it is sufficiently developed, the brain cannot both process and store information. But as adult readers, when you come across any such problem, actually it's more a part of practice of retaining it, and if you are conscious about that, your memory is going to help you out. In other words, there is a trade-off between decoding words and remembering what they mean. The brain can do one or the other, but not both. So you have to be selective what is to be retained. Once it is decoded by your short-term memory, it is stored, you have to sort out कि अब आपको इसमें से क्या चाहिए है. What is the piece of information that you would carry to your long-term memory? फिर your brain shifts it to that. Common problems of students with reference to the efficient use of memory, I would say, are the ones that you would agree to. I'm sure आप में से बहुत सारे ऐसे होंगे जिनको ये प्रॉब्लम्स होते होंगे. पहले तो मुझे ये बताएं, आप में से कितने लोगों की अम्मियाँ आपको बादाम खिलाती हैं? बिकॉज बादाम खाना इज़ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट फॉर इम्प्रूविंग योर मेमोरी. अच्छा नहीं, खैर ये तो मजाक की बात थी. व्हाट आई ऑन अ सीरियस नोट वांट टू से इज ऑफन कंप्लेंट्स आर मेड बाय द लर्नर्स. And in case of young learners, their parents also say कि हाँ बच्चे ने इतना पढ़ा था, सारी रात पढ़ता रहा, सुबह एग्जाम में इसको कुछ याद नहीं आ रहा था. So where is the problem? This is important to understand. I hope you can relate yourself to this situation in many ways. So how to manage to get through your reading and retain what you have read? This is very, very important. Always remember, this is the first tip how to handle that. Always remember, academic material is not meant to be read. It is meant to be ransacked for essential content. आपके जितने भी academic materials हैं, be these books, handouts, notes, additional materials, slideshows, उनको सिर्फ पढ़ना for the sake of reading, to read them is not enough. You have to ransack them for essential contents, which means you have to identify what is it that is important for you, what is it that you need on priority. So that helps you retain. Otherwise सारा आप पढ़ते जाते हैं और चूंकि आप उसको बस उसमें से गुजरते जाते हैं, उसको स्टोर नहीं करते, what happens is at the end of the day your memory storage is empty और उसमें कुछ भी नहीं पड़ा हुआ होता. Continuing on the common problems of students and their solutions, I would say another solution is be selective. Check through the items on your reading list, which are basic texts and which are more detailed. Ask yourself, will you need basic information or more specific information for your assignment? Or you need to explore something in detail? Also ask yourself which are the most accessible to you. Texts which are crystal clear to one person may be incomprehensible to another, and vice versa. This is not a matter of intelligence but of preference as well, because preferences in terms of particular style of presentation, etc., they really affect your understanding, and they really affect your retention of that information in your memory as well. So which texts, which parts of reading are reasonably available for you? This is what you need to check for yourself. So what you need to do is actually to be conscious about कि आप क्या पढ़ रहे हैं, आपको किस तरह से लिखा हुआ हो, किस फॉर्मेट पे हो चीज़ें, तो you understand them easily and you can retain them easily. This is important for you to know. Another solution is set a realistic time frame for any reading task. What I mean by setting a realistic time frame for any reading task is do not read any longer than you can concentrate. If you remember, I already have said in some of my sessions that the general concentration time for a person is not more than 20 minutes in one go. So read only for as long a time as you can focus. Once you feel that you cannot focus anymore, give yourself a short break on that. The break might be of just a few minutes. That would be okay. Just 2 minutes off from the text would help you read it in a more efficient way again and to retain it. फिर आपको वो याद रहेगा, otherwise you would forget. It doesn't matter if your attention span is short, just see your tasks, set your tasks accordingly. If your attention span is shorter, ठीक है, छोटे छोटे ब्रेक्स में, इंटरवल्स में. अब ब्रेक का मतलब ये नहीं है कि 5 मिनट पढ़ा और 3 घंटे का ब्रेक ले लिया कि जी attention span कम है. Break means 1 minute, 1.5 minutes, 2 minutes break on that. और फिर नए से शुरू करते हैं. तो what happens? Things that you read, they come in pieces to your memory, and it becomes easier for your brain to sort them out and to store them for yourself in your memory storage. Another important aspect in this regard is never read without specific questions you want the text to answer. मुझे मैंने पहले कहा था ना, most of you complained that you read through the night, whole night you spent reading the textbook, और फिर एग्जाम में आपको किसी सवाल का जवाब भी नहीं आता था, पता नहीं क्या हुआ, दिमाग से निकल गया, सारा एकदम भूल गया. No, actually it's not that. It is all about, you see, when you read the materials, because you don't have specific questions in your mind, तो वो सब कुछ आपकी मेमोरी में उन क्वेश्चंस के आंसर्स के तौर पे स्टोर नहीं होता. यू डोंट हैव इट रिटेन्ड इन योर मेमोरी. एक जनरल यू स्वीप थ्रू ऑल दैट, यू जस्ट you see move through that, but you do not identify that as particular items, जिसकी वजह से आपको फिर वो आपको लगता है कि अब मुझे याद नहीं आ रहा. So if you want your reading to stay in your memory, you must approach your text with a list of questions about the particular information you are after, and search the text for the answers to those questions. Don't just read with the hope that an answer will appear. This is very crucial for especially Pakistani students who are in a habit of cramming. Don't just read with the hope that an answer will appear. The next important tip is never start reading at page 1 of the text, but look for the summary, conclusion, subheadings, etc. During our sessions on reading, especially on reading comprehension, I talked about how for having a better comprehension we can use different skills and sub-skills, and how we can develop different reading habits. There I talked about previewing and reviewing. There I talked about looking for clues on the pages, looking at the contents list, exploring headings, etc. So this is again the same. अगर आप पहले एक नज़र headings को देख लें, सब headings को देख लें, अगर summary लिखी हुई है उस lesson की, उस particular topic की, if you look at that, it really helps in reading instead of directly jumping into the deep waters of reading, I would say. What I mean by all this is, if there is a summary, a conclusion, a set of subheadings or an abstract, read that first, because it will give you a map of what the text contains. You can then deal with the text structurally, looking for particular points, not just reading blind and so easily getting lost. वो जो अंधाधुंध एक टेक्स्ट को एक्सप्लोर आप करते हैं ना, कि एक सिरे से बस पढ़ना शुरू किया और बस पढ़ डाला, that doesn't work. You need to be clear about, जैसे मैंने पहले कहा, आपके ज़हन में क्वेश्चन वाज़ेह हो, आप क्यों पढ़ रहे हैं, what do you want to know, and then look for these clues that help you know the text in a better way. Well, continuing on common problems of students with reference to memory and retaining what you have read, and talking about the solutions, I would present two more points here. Read only as much as you need to get the information you are after. There are a lot of students, when they are reading, they get distracted और वो बस फिर किसी चीज़ को ज़रा सा कहीं कोई information चाहिए होती है, उसको ज़रा सा explore करना शुरू करते हैं. For example, finding something on internet, finding it on a particular website, for example, so they would be carried away with it. They would be swayed with it and they would keep on reading, exploring more and more. और वो जो असली बात that they are looking for is left somewhere behind. Same happens to the printed pages as well. So, for example, if a piece of information you need is in the abstract of an article, why read the whole article unless you have time to spare? I would say कोई बुरी बात नहीं है if you read the whole article, but then you need to manage your time as well. And you need to see how much you can remember. It's handling your memory in an efficient way. If a point is clear from reading a summary, is there any benefit in reading through the complete text of a chapter? Do you have time for that? Do you want that much of information to be retained in your memory or not? These are important questions that you need to ask yourself when it comes to efficient use of memory. If you are interested in the overall findings of a study, do you really need to read the methodology and results section? So, आप अपने लिए डिसाइड करेंगे कि आपको क्या चाहिए है, what is it that you are looking for, what piece of information you want. फिर उस पर फोकस करेंगे तो वो याद रहेगा ना. You want a particular piece of information, you have 5 points related to that. Okay, you need to mark them for yourself, signpost them for yourself. आप लाहौर से चलते हैं, रावलपिंडी आ रहे हैं, रास्ते में साइन पोस्टिंग हुई हुई होती है ना, इतने किलोमीटर हो गया, इतने किलोमीटर रह गया, 45 किलोमीटर हो गया, अब 105 किलोमीटर हो गया, whatsoever. You remember it like that. Signpost information for yourself. अपने ब्रेन में इसको स्टोर करने के लिए, to make it a part of your memory, signpost it. कि ये 3 points हैं, okay, then point 1, point 2, point 3. This is how you would go onwards. तो फिर you would remember that. Otherwise, it would be very, very difficult to recall that. The next point is, always keep in mind what you need, what is relevant to the question you are asking the text. So, for example, rather than reading all of a series of articles on a topic, consider whether the literature review in the last article of the series will give you enough to go on with. This is again about कि आप एक ही टॉपिक पे एक ही तरह की चीज़ के टेक्स्ट्स 5, 7, 10 अवेलेबल हैं, आप उन सबको पढ़ते रहते हैं. You not only waste your time but also you create problems with your memory. So identify for yourself. You can be infinitely creative with your time and labor saving strategies. This is what you need to be only conscious about. So dear students, these were the main important problems that students have when it comes to remembering something or to use efficiently the memory. With this I move on to how do you remember what you have read. This is a basic question again that I'm asking you. One of the basic principles of memory is that the quality of memory is related to the quality of our interaction with what we try to remember. What I mean by this is that the better you want to remember, the better you need to interact with the text. The quality of memory is related to the quality of your interaction with what you want to remember. If you have organized, dissected, questioned, reviewed and assessed the material you are reading, it will sit more firmly in your memory. हम में से बहुत सारे लोगों का अदरवाइज भी लाइफ में ये प्रॉब्लम होता है. वी टेंड टू फॉरगेट. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, वी मीट अ लॉट ऑफ पीपल एंड वी से, अच्छा मुझे नाम भूल जाते हैं. आई फॉरगेट द नेम्स. Ask yourself, when you ask somebody his or her name, do you listen to that person carefully when the answer is provided? The quality of your interaction with what you want to remember. So the quality or the more kind of consciousness or kind of more attention that you pay while you listen to the name of that person, that would help you retain the name. Otherwise you would forget. Same happens with reading material. When you are interacting with a reading stuff, with printed page or with some electronic access to some materials that are in written form, it is very important that you organize, dissect, that is explore, open up, question, that is critically look at, review, which means once you do a part of it, you review for yourself, you go back and see, अच्छा ये इसका मतलब ये है, ये यहाँ तक मैंने कवर किया, ये 5 points हो गए, etc. And assessed, that is evaluated the material that you are reading, it will be more retainable as far as your memory is concerned, and it would be easy to access it again from your memory storage. Continuing on this point, I would say, why is it so easy to remember the contents of an article about something you are really interested in comparison to something that you are not interested in, और वो फिर आपको याद नहीं रहती. In comparison to that, an article that you read because you find it genuinely interesting, you remember that more. What does it mean? It is because you get involved personally in the events and images the text portrays. You can harness some of the same memory potential in academic reading by adopting a particular kind of involved, active reading. What I mean by that is, learn to use your own cognitive strengths, use your visual, oral, that is bolna or sunna, systematic strengths, etc., cognitive abilities, etc., to create memorability in your reading. What you need to do is imagine. जब आप पढ़ रहे हैं, try to imagine that text. Visualize what is being presented. अगर कोई process है, visualize that. Recite. अगर कोई poetry है, एक ऐसी चीज़ है, उसको बोल के देखिए. Act out your academic material. Act out does not mean कि अब आप सचमुच में खड़े होकर acting करना शुरू कर दें. It's a mental process where you would act it out for yourself, where you would see how actually it would be happening. So get it out of the dry text on page or screen context and put some real life into it. जितना मैंने जो वही एक्चुअली ये वही बात है जो मैंने पिछली स्लाइड पे कही, द बेटर इज द क्वालिटी ऑफ योर इंटरेक्शन विद द रीडिंग मटेरियल, द मोर आर द चांसेस ऑफ रिटेनिंग इट इन योर मेमोरी एंड द बेटर क्वालिटी ऑफ मेमोरी यू वुड हैव फॉर दैट पर्टिकुलर piece of reading. So this is very, very crucial for students, especially when it comes to academic reading that is generally considered by them as something very boring and monotonous. A final hint on this that I would like to give is, don't take notes whilst you are reading. Instead, try dividing your reading into short sections. Closing the book or closing the page when you have read a section and writing a summary from memory. जब आप कोई भी एकेडमिक राइटिंग पढ़ रहे होते हैं, when you are dealing with any academic text, generally students क्या करते हैं, to remember that, साथ साथ उसके नोट्स बनाते जाते हैं. Yes, notes taking is a very very good activity, but if you want to improve your memory, just change your pattern of preparing those notes or this note taking technique. What you need to do is divide your reading into small parts. जैसे मैंने पहले कहा, sections में, छोटे छोटे parts में, chunks में, when information comes, it becomes more easy to handle. So select reasonable sections of reading, एक reasonable portion पढ़ें और फिर किताब को बंद करके try to recall that, और फिर उसके summary notes जो आप लेना चाहते हैं वो लें. Well, you can recheck it with or cross check it with the text if you are not sure. The things you recall are strengthened in memory by the act of recall. ये एक रियलिटी है कि अगर आप किसी चीज़ को रिकॉल करने की कोशिश करते हैं, आप उसको दोबारा याद करने की कोशिश करते हैं, आप यू वांट टू ब्रिंग इट बैक, यू वांट टू गेट इट फ्रॉम द स्टोर ऑफ योर मेमोरी, दिस प्रोसेस इटसेल्फ स्ट्रेंथन्स योर मेमोरी. ये प्रोसेस जो है ना, इससे मेमोरी तेज होती है. एंड द करेक्शन ऑफ थिंग्स यू लीव आउट और गेट रॉन्ग हेल्प्स फिक्स देम इन मेमोरी एज वेल. और अगर इस प्रोसेस में आप कुछ गलती करते हैं, कोई चीज़ गलत करते हैं, कोई गलत जगह पे किसी चीज़ को फिट इन करते हैं मेमोरी में, तो उसको सही, जब आप उसको सही करने की, रिकॉल करने की कोशिश करते हैं, दिस प्रोसेस ऑटोमेटिकली हेल्प्स यू ऑन द कॉग्निटिव लेवल टू इम्प्रूव योर मेमोरी. सो द मोर यू चैलेंज योर मेमोरी, आपने कुछ भी किया फिर उसको याद करने की, दोहराने की ज़हन में कोशिश करें. दिस चैलेंजिंग मेमोरी or challenging your ability to remember is very very important in improving your mental processes of remembering. Reading in anticipation of writing a summary improves reading by becoming more analytical and conscious of key points. इसके अलावा जब आप when you are reading something and you want to remember something, अगर आप पहले से ही आप conscious हैं इस बात के कि आप इसके points या इसकी summary लिखेंगे, this consciousness makes you better and efficient reader, because then you focus more, you are more analytical and you are more conscious of the key points or the important points of your reading. ये वही वाली बात है कि if you are clear कि आपका questions क्या हैं, आप किस लिए पढ़ रहे हैं, the purpose of reading is clear, तो फिर it helps you retain all that in your memory. Another tip is pay attention. You can't remember something if you never learned it, and you can't learn something that is encoded into your brain if you don't pay enough attention to it. It takes about 8 seconds of intense focus to process a piece of information into your memory. Remember, 8 seconds time एक छोटे से piece of information के लिए लगता है. If you are easily distracted, pick a quiet place where you won't be interrupted. ध्यान से जब आप पढ़ेंगे, दैट इज़ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. वो जो 8 सेकेंड्स टाइम एक छोटा सा वर्ड, फ्रेज या सेंटेंस है, उसको प्रोसेस होके माइंड में स्टोर होने में लगता है. इफ़ यू आर नॉट कॉन्शियस अबाउट दैट, इफ़ यू आर नॉट गिविंग अटेंशन टू इट एट दैट टाइम, इट वुड नॉट बी रिटेन्ड एफिशिएंटली और प्रॉपरली. Involve as many senses as possible. Try to relate information to colors, textures, smells and tastes. The physical act of rewriting information can help imprint it onto your brain. Even if you are a visual learner, read out loud what you want to remember. If you can recite it rhythmically, even better in some cases, though I would say not in all cases. To enable you to do these cognitive processes in a better way or to support your memory, I would say relate information to what you have already known. Connect new data to information that you already remember, whether it's new material that builds on previous knowledge or something as simple as an address of someone who lives on a street where you already know something. So whether it is a mental connect that you develop between one item or the other, or it is relating a piece of information to something out there in the world, something physical, in both cases your memory works more to retain the information that you read. For more complex material, focus on understanding basic ideas rather than memorizing isolated details. Practice explaining the ideas to someone else in your own words. The real test of whether you have comprehended an idea in a proper way or not is try to express it in your own words. If you are able to express it in your own words, it means you have understood it. If you just repeat exactly the same words in which the idea is presented, maybe I would say there might be doubts about whether you have understood it or not. Finally, rehearse information you have already learned, which means review what you have learned the same day you learned it and at intervals thereafter. एक चीज़ आज जो आप याद कर रहे हैं, important points उसके जो हैं उनको रिवाइज करने की कोशिश करें, उनको रिव्यू करें and after proper intervals, मतलब थोड़ी थोड़ी देर के बाद, थोड़ी देर may mean in this case 2 hours, 3 hours, या सुबह याद किया है तो शाम में revise those points. This spaced rehearsal is more effective than cramming, especially for retaining what you have learned. क्रैमिंग की बजाय, रटा लगाने की बजाय, दिस स्पेस्ड रिहर्सल रियली हेल्प्स. उन पॉइंट्स को दोबारा दोहराने की कोशिश करें. डोंट डू इट लाइक वंस यू रीड इट यू थिंक दैट यू कैन समराइज पॉइंट्स एंड देन यू फॉरगेट इट फॉर से 3, 4 or 5 days. If you would come back to that information, there are chances that you would not be able to retain it from your memory or to regain it from your memory. So this spaced rehearsal after short intervals उसी दिन में is very very important and crucial to understand. My dear students, memory is a very very important tool that can be used for problem solving. If you look at all the academic tasks that you get in your lives to do, they are most of the times problem solving tasks. Be it mathematics questions or English reading comprehension, all these need problem solving abilities. Memory can be used as a very effective tool for problem solving. However, in this case, I would say it is useful to consider memory as a two-step process: storage and retrieval. What I mean by that is efficient use of memory means two things. पहली बात तो ये है कि आपने मेमोरी में स्टोर कैसे करनी है चीज़ें, स्टोरेज. दूसरा पार्ट है रिट्रीवल. जब आपको चाहिए तो उसमें से एफिशिएंटली वो चीज़ कैसे आप दोबारा से ढूंढेंगे. ये ऐसी है ना जैसे अगर आप किसी स्टोर रूम में इम्पॉर्टेंट चीज़ें बंद करके रखते हैं, तो पहली तो चीज़ ये कि आप उनको कैसे रखते हैं और फिर आपको जब उसमें से कोई इम्पॉर्टेंट चीज़ चाहिए तो आप कैसे ढूंढेंगे या कैसे निकालेंगे. तो स्टोरेज एंड द सिस्टम्स ऑफ स्टोरेज आर वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट फॉर रिट्रीवल. अब अगर आपने जब रखी हैं स्टोर रूम में चीज़ें, आपने उनको तरतीब से रखा है, उनकी कोई ऑर्गेनाइजेशन है, उनका कोई सिस्टम है, तो इट वुड बी ईजी टू हैव एक्सेस टू देम, टू फाइंड देम आउट. जब उनमें से कोई पर्टिकुलर चीज़ चाहिए होगी यू वुड बी ईजिली एबल टू फाइंड इट आउट. लेकिन इफ़ यू हैव जस्ट you see placed them there randomly or heaped them there, तो फिर वो जो एक अंबार होगा चीज़ों का उसमें से it would be very difficult to find out. Same happens with our memory. We have to take care of the systems of storage and then how you would retrieve that. आप वापस वो आपको जब चाहिए तो याद कैसे आएगा. Well, if you want to remember something, it must be stored in your memory. But after being introduced to someone, you have, if ये मैंने जैसे पहले भी example दी थी, have you ever forgotten the name? When this happens, you typically haven't forgotten the name because you never really had it. मुझे आप कहते हैं ना मुझे नाम भूल गया, असल में वो आपको भूला नहीं होता, आपको तो वो कभी याद ही नहीं हुआ था, इसलिए कि you didn't listen to that carefully. जो original awareness है, that is the first step towards storage. Original awareness in this case is कि आपने ध्यान से उसको सुना या ध्यान से पढ़ा and then silently review the name, that is intention to remember. So within storage process the first step is original awareness and the second step is intention to remember. फिर आपने इसको याद रखने की कोशिश की. For example, आपने दिल में एक दफ़ा दोहरा के देख लिया, मुंह से एक दफ़ा बोल के देख लिया. The name is now stored in your memory so you can remember it later. When you find something worth remembering in your reading or problem solving practice, stop for a few seconds and review it before you lose it. तो when you are reading something, कोई important information है, कोई important point है जो आपको याद रखना है, that is worth it. What you need to do is the same process. पहला, original awareness. You need to pay attention to it. And then intention to remember, which means आप carefully उसको review करते हैं, then it becomes a part of your memory, otherwise it does not. Dear students, as I've already said, retrieval, that is to get back, is the important part of organization of your memory. अगर आपने properly store किया है तो फिर आपको वो word या वो information वापस मिलेगी from your memory. For that, there needs to be some system in your storage so that you can retrieve it. It's easy to find, for example, page 86 of a book or the word grace in a dictionary or a book in a library due to organization. तो जिस चीज़ पे मैं इस वक्त focus कर रही हूँ वो that is organization of information to be stored in your memory. Book pages are in numerical order, dictionary words are alphabetical, and library books are arranged according to a system. For example, Library of Congress, फलां वाला writer, फलां वाला system. Particular shelves जो number हुई हुई होती हैं, जो name हुई हुई होती हैं. So logical organization also makes it easier to retrieve information from your memory. What I want to say is, logically, it is proved by the researchers that the information that is more organized and systematic in its presentation, it is retained and it is remembered in a better way, and it is retrieved also in a more efficient way. I would like to share one example here. Okay, you would find it very interesting. Look at this, remember one. Remember this. Look for a few seconds at these 22 letters. ये letters दिए हैं ना, T, S, E, K, H, A, U, O, E, N, D, Y, G, C, A, L, H, T, E, Y, N, M. These are 22 letters. इनको एक सेकंड के लिए जरा देखें, चंद सेकंड्स इस पे फोकस करें and try to remember them. Now close your eyes and try to recall all of them. Don't leave any letters out and don't put any extras in. आप ये लिस्ट दोबारा से क्रिएट कर सकते हैं इसी तरह से. Maybe it would be very difficult. आप में से कुछ लोग जो हैं वो कदरे बेहतर कर लेंगे, कुछ बिल्कुल नहीं कर सकेंगे. But it would not be possible for you to retain all this information in the same order, इसी order, इसी तरतीब से, without any inclusion or exclusion of an extra word. You would not be able to produce this list. Though I know if you were given enough time and incentive you could memorize these letters, but there is a better way to do it, that is by using organization. What I mean by this is, now look at this these words that I have given here. Sneaky the lunch dog my ate. एक दफा और पढ़ लें. Sneaky the lunch dog my ate. Now can you recall these words? I'm sure all of you would be able to recall these words, as I can recall without looking at the screen. Sneaky the dog ate my lunch. So you see what happened? In my case, the sequence is different. There is some problem with the sequence. I said Sneaky the dog ate my lunch, whereas here it is Sneaky the lunch dog my ate, but I could recall all the words. Maybe if I look at it for a few more seconds, I would be able to remember the sequence. Sneaky the lunch dog my ate. So I can recall Sneaky the lunch dog my ate. Why is this easier to, I would say, why is this easier to remember? Okay, my dear students, it has a reason, it has a logic why it is easier to remember. पहली बात, quantity. It is easier to remember because in the second case there are only 6 things to be remembered. There are 6 words to be remembered. In the first case there were 22 things, that is 22 letters that are to be remembered. Remembering 6 things is easier than remembering 22 things. So organize your information in a way where you give it a reasonable quantity to be remembered. Second reason why you remember number 2 instead of number 1 is the meaning. Simply forming letter groups isn't enough. ये नहीं है कि आपने अगर 6 चीजें बनानी है उन 22 से तो आप उनको बस इकट्ठे कर दें जैसे यहाँ पर किया हुआ है. I would read this nonsense collection of words. Temue and acne, neti, yisol, aikd. So you see, none of these words has a meaning. There are nonsensical, meaningless words. So, for example, temue is not an English word. Remembering this word would be more difficult, for example, as compared to the word lunch. Why? The word lunch in English is meaningful. It has a particular meaning. So, what I want to prove as a point is, in terms of organizing your information that you want to remember, do two things. Number one, organize it in the sense of or in terms of quantity. Give it reasonable quantitative proportions. जैसे मैंने यहाँ एग्जांपल दी कि 6 चीज़ें याद रखना आसान है as compared to 22 चीज़ों के. Secondly, organize this information that is to be retained in your memory in a meaningful way. वो जो आपने quantitative chunks बनाने हैं, they should be meaningful. जैसे इस केस में I have given the example of nonsensical words which are very difficult to remember. Read, for example, 3 times this nonsensical sentence जो blue में दिया हुआ है यहाँ पर under the heading meaning. फिर इसको इसी तरह से recall करने की कोशिश करें. I am sure most of you would not be able to recall even half of it. So, quantity and meaning are important with reference to organization. And the third point that is important with the reference to the organization of materials for remembering them efficiently is structure. Going back to the previous slide, please look at Sneaky the lunch dog my ate. Do you remember जब मैंने इसको याद करके और फिर जुबानी बोलने की कोशिश की तो मैं इसके सीक्वेंस को I couldn't remember और वो मुझसे कुछ चेंज हो गया था. I said something like Sneaky the dog ate my lunch, something like that. Now the point is, if the structure, that is the organization of these small chunks in a sequence is done in a better and a more organized way, it would become easier to remember. If I ask myself, what does the dog do? And if I, for example, you see, put all that information here, instead of Sneaky the dog my lunch ate, if I put it in a sequenced and more logically organized way, the sneaky dog ate my lunch. Even just listening to it once, you can remember it. If you come across it in a written form, just by looking at it once, you would be remembering it and you would be able to recall the sneaky dog ate my lunch. What it means organize the structure, the sequence, what is to come where in the logical sense. अगर आप उस तरह से याद रखने की कोशिश करेंगे, it would be remembered more efficiently. Dear students, with this we move on to the retrieval part of it. ये तो storage का part था ना कि कैसे store करेंगे. अब retrieve कैसे करना है. In retrieval, I would talk about the importance of reviewing. If you want to remember something, that is some concepts, equations, problem solving strategies, etc., review it. I would say a balanced review distributed throughout the course is better than cramming. ये वही वाली बात है जो मैंने कही कि पूरा एक कोर्स अगर आप फॉर एग्जांपल 4 महीने के लिए पढ़ रहे हैं, इंस्टेड ऑफ कि सब कुछ स्टोर करते जाएं इन योर मेमोरी और फिर उसको मुड़ के ना देखें पीछे, फिर एग्जाम के दिन पे जब उसको देखेंगे तो यू वुड नॉट बी एबल टू रिकॉल एनीथिंग. सो रिव्यू इट, वो जो होता है ना प्रॉपर इंटरवल्स के साथ, कीप ऑन लुकिंग एट इट बैक अगेन, रिव्यूइंग इट, याद करने की कोशिश करें कि फलां हेडिंग के अंडर, फलां टॉपिक के अंडर आपने क्या क्या सब हेडिंग्स और सब टॉपिक्स पढ़े थे, व्हाट वर द इम्पोर्टेंट पॉइंट्स. दिस बैलेंस्ड डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन थ्रू आउट द कोर्स इज फार बेटर दैन द effort to cram at the end of the course. Various types of reviews, they offer different advantages. For example, आप flash cards पे बना के रख लें, लिख के रख लें एक छोटे छोटे cards पे, आप उसको देख सकते हैं. So flash cards require activities, summary notes provide organization, and both let you make quick reviews of the entire chapter. आप summary notes बना सकते हैं. Generally review is more effective when you are active. और वही वाली बात कि जो मैंने पहले कही थी, it is your active interaction that enables you have a better quality of what you retain in your memory. Dear students, on this slide what I'm going to share with you is summary notes as an organizational tool for retaining something in your memory. One powerful organizing technique is summary notes. To make them, choose the most important ideas from your textbook, lecture notes and problem solving practice, and then organize these ideas into a unified summary. Divide information into idea clusters, spread these all over the page and use spatial cues to show their relationships. You can use flowcharts, hierarchy structure, relational concept maps, logical outlines, tables और free form chaos. आपकी मर्जी है, mind mapping करके रख लें. आपको flow chart में आसान रहता है, bullets के साथ आसान रहता है, points के साथ आसान रहता है, but you need to have a summary. In some way it needs to be organized. There are various uses of a summary, my dear students, and when you study something, a summary is useful in the following ways. It helps you, number one, memorize. When information is condensed in a small area, you can literally see the visual and logical interconnections, and it is easier to understand relationships. Because the information is organized on paper, it is easier to organize in your mind, which makes it easier to remember. And summary notes are short, so you can do this very quickly, yet thorough reviews of what you have done. Secondly, summary also helps in developing problem solving strategies. What I mean by this is, most of the tools you need are available in clear view, so you can focus your attention on how to use them. And thirdly, summary helps you acquire more knowledge, which means new information is easier to understand when it is related to what you already know. If it is a variation on a familiar theme or in a logical sequence of a principle, you understand that in a better way. So summary notes organize the essential ideas into a framework, providing a structure where you can insert details and new ideas. To sum up this part that I have covered so far about remembering, organizing and retrieval, I would say that learn with intention to remember. Try to organize the information. Try to organize the information with intrinsic logic और an external system. या तो अपने दिमाग में कोई उसका intrinsically, internally कोई उसकी logic develop कर लें, या outer world में कोई system के साथ उसको relate कर लें. And finally and thirdly, review actively and often using appropriate clues, तो फिर it would become a part of your memory. सिर्फ बादाम खाने से कुछ भी नहीं होगा. My dear students, with this I would give you another tip on how to use your memory very efficiently. Okay, to have some awareness of that and to have some practice in that, what I would like you to do is just look at a list of the 15 words that are given here. Pause 5 seconds between each word. After reading the words to you, as I would read it here for you, I would ask you to write them as you can remember them. So let me read this first list of words for you. Dog, strawberry, cow, onion, orange, squash, rat, plum, horse, carrots, apple, chicken, corn, grapefruit, celery. It is important to give a few seconds pause after each word, my dear students, as you read these, because we are going to use a technique of visualization, organization, and repetition. Now try to create that list without looking at the list again. Are you able to create the whole list as it is? What is important for you here is, if I take you back to this information, look at the information. Do you see some names of animals? Do you see some edibles here? Try to categorize these according to those categories. And I'm sure if you would try to remember these under certain heads. For example, animals such as dog, horse, rat, cow, you would be able to remember them in a better way. Okay, dear students, on the same pattern as I provided you a list of words that had some creatures including animals such as dog, cow, chicken, etc., and then there were some edibles that were fruits. When I asked you to try to remember them under these two main headings, I'm sure you would have been able to retain those in a better way. To give you some more clarity on what I mean by that is, first I would like you to look at the list that you can see right now on the screen. What you see on the screen is a list of different items that are scattered on the page and that do not have any specific organization, sequence, numbering, use of bullets, alphabetical order, or anything that would give you a clue or a cue how to remember them. Look at the list for a few seconds. If you have done that, just take a piece of paper and try to create this list again. I'm sure you would find difficulties with creating this list. Though I also know that some of you would have a slightly better result of the activity, the others would have more difficulty in that. But in general, to create the whole list as it is, after just looking at it for a while and remembering it is not possible. Now, what you need to do? What you need to do is organize all this information into three categories. If you look at the list, I would show you the previous slide, you would see here are some references to some sea creatures. Here are some references to some kitchen utensils, for example, glass, plate, knife. Here are also some references to some tools, for example, screwdriver, drill, etc. So, now try to organize all this information into three categories: sea creatures, kitchen utensils, and tools. For example, visualize the sea creatures in an aquarium, set the kitchen utensils on a table, put the tools in your toolbox, or picture yourself using these tools, but put some action and color into the pictures. What I'm talking about is, it is a mental process where you visualize all that. I would also say repetition helps. We need to keep these words in our minds for at least 5 seconds to become them a part of our long-term memory. अगर 5 सेकंड तक आपने याद रखा देन यू वुड रिमेंबर इट. जनरली क्या होता है, हम बस जल्दी से उसमें से गुजरते हैं, विद इन 5 सेकंड्स वी गो टू द नेक्स्ट थिंग एंड वी फॉरगेट दैट, जिसका नतीजा ये होता है कि इट इज रिमूव्ड फ्रॉम द शॉर्ट टर्म मेमोरी एंड इट डजंट गो टू द लॉन्ग टर्म मेमोरी. So you need to retain at least for 5 seconds these items in your short term memories before it goes to your long term memory. Again read this list now, give a 5 seconds pause between the words. I have placed them under 3 different heads. You can see tools, drill, nail, wrench, saw, screwdriver. List number 2 is sea creatures. Which sea creatures? Shark, starfish, tuna fish, eel, crab. And the third list is of kitchen utensils: plate, cup, sugar bowl, knife, drinking glass. Well, if you find difficulty with this, you can do it once again. You can give even a few more seconds pause for yourself to retain all this in your memory. Then what I would like you to do is to go to the, you see, a notebook that you have and try to create this list. You would see this time your result would be far better. आपको ज़्यादा words उसमें से याद रहेंगे because they are more systematically organized. My dear students, before I move towards the closing of today's session, I would like to give you some quick exercise in how to focus and have some memory, some information stored in your memory in a good way. So here is exercise 1 in that respect. This is a small extract of not more than 2 sentences that I would like you to read, decode for yourself, that is comprehend it and try to remember the information. Let us read it together. Experiments with elementary school children have proved that they learn the skills and attitudes needed in research, usually with good results. The laboratory plan of instruction, in which small cluster groups or individuals work on simple experiments, has advantages over the usual textbook assignments. Well, my dear students, here to help you out, some parts of this small extract are underlined. Again, this is a visual clue for you that these are the important parts where you can get important information that you need to retain. So this is where you are to focus. So can we go to the questions? Okay, now answer these 3 questions related to those 2 sentences extract. Question number 1 is, what have experiments with elementary school children proved? Option A, it is possible for a child to learn skills needed in research. Option B, children cannot learn skills needed in research. Option C, children are capable of doing much better research than adults. And the final option, that is option D, it states elementary school children are incapable of learning and retaining basic skills. अब जो आपने वो 2 sentences पढ़े थे, अगर आपको याद है कुछ उसमें से information, mark the correct answer out of these with the help of your memory. I move on to number 2 question. That is, laboratory instruction is characterized by option A, experimentation in the classroom, option B, experiments done by the teacher before the entire class, option C, individual research and field work done by the children, and option D, experimentation by small groups or individuals. Which one of these do you think is the correct answer? Please mark your choice. Question number 3 on this slide is, what is the effect of laboratory plan instruction? Option A, it is harmful to the children. Option B, it is found to be less advantageous than textbook assignments. I'm sorry, here is a typo error on the page. I would like you to notice, but before I tell what is that, can you notice that? Okay, let me help you out. Here then is actually than, THAN, than. So correct this for yourselves. Move on to option C. It is advantageous over the usual methods of teaching by textbooks. And the 4th option, that is option D, it states it is generally not preferred by students. So you can mark your option that you think is the best suitable answer. If you have done all the 3 questions, what I would like you to do is to go to the next slide. And here are the answers. We have experiments with elementary school children that prove it is possible for a child to learn skills needed in research. You can see the answer. Answer A, that is marked in red, is the correct answer. As far as question number 2 was concerned, laboratory instruction is characterized by dash. Option D is correct, that is experimentation by small groups or individuals. Now look at question 3. What is the effect of laboratory plan instruction? And option C is the correct option. It is advantageous over the usual methods of teaching by textbooks. I would take you back through these slides to this slide. Look at the extract again. If you look at the extract, you would see it has only 2 sentences. The sentences in themselves are not very complex or complicated. Still, you need to check your performance, how far your memory worked efficiently on this test. If you have done all the 3 questions correctly, well, very well done. If you have not been able to, it means you need to be a bit more conscious of when you're reading something to retain it in your memory. With this, I take you to another exercise. Again, this is a small extract. This time it has 3 sentences. 3 or 2 sentences? Yes, 3 sentences in it. Let us read it together before we look at the questions. Like the parents, the teacher is often a model for the imitation and identification. School situations may imprint certain pictures in the child's mind which serve as standard for the judgment of proper behavior in the future. Event when the teacher's tactic, he may adopt them himself on a later occasion. If you think you have not been able to put important information in your memory, you can read it once again before you go on to the next slide. If you have read that carefully, I would like you to answer these questions. Again, we have 3 questions based on those 3 sentences in that extract, and question number 1 says, according to the paragraph, children tend to, option A, imitate their teachers rather than their parents. अब ये वही वाली गलती, then नहीं, than. Option B, use both their parents and their teachers as model for behavior. Option C states, act in directed opposition to their teachers and parents' behavior. And the final option is, identify only with their parents. So you can make a choice that according to your memory is correct with reference to the paragraph. Question number 2 is, with regret to judgments for proper behavior, students, option A, are infinitely influenced by school situations. Option B, are sometimes influenced by school situations. Option C, are never influenced by school situations. And option D, rarely if ever use school situations as standards. With this, I move on to question number 3 for designed for this paragraph. Question is, if a child resents a teacher's behavior, option A, he will seldom use these same tactics. Option B, he will avoid any similar to such behavior. And option C states, he may still, however, at times adopt those same tactics. And fourth and the final option, that is option D, states, he will still always adopt the same behavior on late occasions. Please mark your choices as answers with reference to what your memory tells you, and then move on to the next slide. Here are the answers for you, dear students. Question number 1 was, according to the paragraph, children tend to do what? And option B is the correct option. Use both their parents and their teachers as model for behavior. Number 2, with regret to judgments for proper behavior, students, again option B is correct, are sometimes influenced by school situations. So here sometimes is the correct option instead of infinitely, never or rarely. With this we move on to the third question, that was, if a child resents a teacher's behavior, so the correct option is option C, that says he may still, however, at times adopt these same tactics. How far your memory worked? What was your experience of working with this paragraph? Well, evaluate yourself on this and then move on to the next slide. And here is yet another exercise for you, my dear students. Look at the exercise. It again is a small extract that says, fashions are like fads, but change more slowly and are less trivial. Fashions reflect the dominant interest and motives of a society at a particular time. In the 18th century, elaborate clothing reflected an ornate and decorative upper-class culture, and the confining styles of the Victorian era reflected Victorian prudishness. My dear students, what I would like to say at this point is, again, there are some parts in the sentence that, in these sentences, that are underlined. These are visual clues for you that I have given here for you. By the way, did you use those visual clues when you were trying to work on paragraph 2? Okay, if you didn't, be conscious of these visual clues this time. If you have read it and you think you have understood it, move on to the activity. So here we have 3 questions that you are supposed to answer. The first question that I would pose is, how do fashions differ from fads? Option A, fashions are slower in changing and are more trivial. Option B, fashion changes more often and are less trivial. Option C, fashion change from season to season and are very trivial. And the option that is given as the last option is, fashions are slower in changing, are less trivial. So you mark your answer according to the information retrieved from your memory and then move on to question number 2. Question number 2 states, fashions are reflections of, option A, social pressure at a particular time. Option B, outstanding social interests and motives at a particular time. Option C, the social interest of the elite group. and option D, the change of seasons only. What is your choice of answer? What does your memory say? Okay, move on to the next question. Question is, 18th century fashions reflected the ornate and decorative culture, whereas the Victorian fashions reflected option A, Victorian prudishness, option B, Victorian peasant life, option C, Victorian frivolity, and option D, the prudishness of the lower class. Now that I hope you have marked the answers for these questions, I would like you to go on to the next slide, and here you can see the answers and check how far your memory worked well. Question number 1, how do fashions differ from fads? The answer that is correct is option A. Fashions are slower in changing and are more trivial. As far as question number 2 is concerned, it is fashions are reflection of, correct option B, outstanding social interests and motives at a particular time. In the same way, question number 3, 18th century fashions reflected the ornate and decorative culture, whereas the Victorian fashions reflected, the correct option is option A, Victorian prudishness. Check your performance on these activities. If you think you need more practice, go to some more activities. You may find them on different websites. They are also available in different books that are available in the market on study skills. You need to practice a bit more on your memory, planning, organization, and retrieval if you want to be efficient as readers and as efficient communicators when it comes to academic skills and academic performance. My dear students, with this I come to the conclusion of today's session. Before I really close today's session, I would like to share a quick review of today's session. Today's session was mainly on the efficient use of memory. We started with what is memory building or what is efficient use of memory. I shared with you what are the mental processes that are involved in remembering something. In that context, I also talked about the role of short-term memory. A very important part of the session was about the strategies to remember, where I shared a few strategies with you how you can remember. The more the information that you want to store is organized, is systematic, is put into pieces, and is reviewed, revised, and rehearsed at proper intervals, the better it is retained in your memory. I shared memory as a problem-solving tool with you, and through some activities and exercises, I helped you check how far efficiently you read and retain your information in your memory storage. I hope today's lesson would have helped in having a consciousness on how to use your memory in an efficient and effective way. It would have also helped you find for yourself a few important strategies that you can use to organize materials in a proper way and to remember them for academic purposes. Thank you very much.